Greetings again, my fellow trustees. I would like to, I'm actually supposed to make a motion to call this meeting to order.
Second.
And
All-
Daniel coming in.
Oh, good. Oh, good. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All opposed? Okay. So why don't we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
stands, one
one
nation,
nation, under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty and justice for
for
all.
all.
Thank you. So I am just looking for the minutes again. I just had them. Did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes? Yes, no?
Yes, and I have a correction that to my director's report.
You mean
I-
in the minutes?
Yes, in the minutes, I inadvertently put in April's information,
Okay.
745 transaction in April. It's actually 775 transactions in March.
Okay.
So sorry about that.
I can't seem to get to my agenda on board right now, which is okay. But is everybody looking at the minutes? They are on board. If you guys can get to on board. Does anybody have any?
Aside from Tom's edits,
Mhm.
I will pass a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The minutes pass. So Francis, give us your WLS report.
Okay, Madam Chair, I gave in my last report to the board a fairly comprehensive report, so I have really very little to add to that, but just a couple of things. That number one is that the WLS board has approved a comprehensive health emergency plan, which should be followed in the event of a declared public emergency. It's such as we have in this pandemic, but it's not limited to COVID-19 pandemic only, but also to other communicable diseases, pandemic and illnesses, etc. in the future. This plan is in response, in compliance with the New York State labor law. All are required to do that. The plan lays out rather clearly the roles and the responsibilities and the preparedness activities and response protocols that should be complied with, should be obeyed, implemented during the emergency situation. As soon as the final text of this plan is out, I intend to circulate it to the board, and of course it is available to all the libraries. You will find it very, very comprehensive and detailed.
Okay.
So that is one.
Mhm.
The second one is, well, as the pandemic storm begins to lift and the storms beginning to subside, it certainly leaves behind lots of destructions in lives and properties and businesses and employment, et cetera, et cetera. On the emotional side, of course, a very significant impact of the pandemic is the trauma that is being experienced by many of our citizens in the community, in the county, in the state, in the country, and worldwide. And this fact is not lost on WLS, fortunately. In fact, even before the pandemic, WLS has focused on trauma, and that has been dealt with to some extent in Resilience, a film that I think we're all quite familiar with. as a response to trauma in recognizing and strengthening the ability of individuals and communities to feel safe and connected and be able to take the right actions during these stressful times. And fortunately, WS is continuing to address this problem during this pandemic period. It is working closely with the Westchester County authorities and is taking regular training and courses and contacts in order to be able to provide more effective and efficient assistance to the community. There is one staff member who is devoted. I think that two were devoted to this, and they're doing an admirable job. So I wanted to bring that up because I think this issue of trauma is quite important, and it's good to know that our community, our institution, WLS, is aware of that and is doing something about it. You'll find more details on this in the report of the executive director, which I should be circulating in the next couple of days. I think that's all I have to say at the moment.
Really? Okay. Okay. Great. So we will move to my report. One, I just want to let everybody know that we did have our public, we were all there. Well, most of us were there. We had our public meeting at 7 o'clock that lasted for about 10 minutes about our budget and gave the community at large the opportunity to ask questions. Nobody asked questions and we got support. So that was great. As you all know, the budget goes out to the public on May 18th. And if you don't know, the polls are open longer because it's a Jewish holiday. So they usually close at like 9. I think they're closing at 10 or even later. So the other piece of business I have to do is nominating. So typically we have 3 people on the nominating committee. It cannot be any of the people who are currently officers. So Whitney and Dan can't be on the nominating committee. But I'm happy to be on the nominating committee, and I generally take 2 more people. So do Corey or Beth or Sarah, would you like to?
I'll join.
Okay,
I will as well.
so all 4 of us? Okay, so then why don't Corey, I don't need to be on it then. Though the president should be on it, I think.
I don't have to be on it. I just thought you knew.
Sarah's like pathetic.
That's our person.
Okay, so Corey, myself, and Beth. Who seconded? Who seconded which thing, Jean?
Was it the minutes that Jean is
Is it?
wondering?
I did. Whitney.
Okay.
Yes,
Yep.
Whitney seconded.
Thank-
And now committee, it's going to be.
We haven't done it yet. We're doing it.
Oh.
I'm doing it. Jean's ahead of me. So quick. So, so then I'd like to propose that the nominating committee be formed. We will have our kind of the slate for next year. We'll have it at June, and it will be Corey, Beth, and myself. So does somebody want to make a motion?
I make a motion to accept the members of the nominating committee.
I will
Second.
second it.
Oh, Dan seconds it.
All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. That is great. And that's really all I have for my report. It's my last report, so you guys won't be hearing my voice anymore.
So
But
sad.
I'll come to meetings. I'll be like Marjorie. I'll be in the audience with her.
Is this really, it's not the June one that's your last one? It's this
Well,
one?
in the June one, actually, Tom and I talked about this today. The June one, the person who wins the election comes and is sworn in, so then they can sit in.
But you're
the
still the pre-
transition of power meeting.
Yes, you're still the president for the June meeting. So you have one more to go.
Okay, so Jean is saying, don't you have a June meeting? Okay,
Yes, not
fine.
so fast, not so
Okay, so
fast.
June is the meeting. Okay.
Slow your roll, girl. Slow your roll.
Okay. All right. So Tom, do you have a report? I'm finished with my report.
I do. I'll try to make it brief. Library operations, we have been busy in our virtual world. We certainly, relative to curbside, 745 transactions in the month of April, answering patron inquiries via email and phone, doing plenty of remote programming, particularly for our children's as well as our teens. Electronic content is still popular, but print content too is popular because of curbside. But everything, our focus has really started to pivot to the fact that, in fact, we are reopening this Monday, which is very exciting. And we've been working towards that moment in time since we closed. And not to beat up the proverbial dead horse, but I have to say, in a difficult time in closing, we actually found very constructive ways to occupy our time. In addition to all the things that I mentioned, we undertook the opportunity to focus on our renovations on our second floor. And while we're certainly not complete, the second floor looks quite a bit better than where it was when we closed the doors in December. We also spent a lot of time weeding in the adult areas, many titles that have proven to be not popular anymore or in poor shape. And so that's really good, because what we know to be the fact is that if you have lots and lots of books, many of them good, but many of them obscured by books that are in poor shape or old and not popular, people don't see the really terrific books, the gems. So we've spent a lot of time weeding through our collection to make the collection more relevant and attractive to our patrons. So relative to reopening, let me just sort of summarize where we stand. We will be open on Mondays through Saturdays. Once again, we're following, for the most part, the hours we had when we closed. We'll be open at 10 in the morning, stay open till 12 noon, close to clean, etc. Then reopen 2 to 5. However, on Wednesdays, we traditionally were open till 6 o'clock, and we are going to reinstate that Wednesday to 6 o'clock hour. In addition to that, we will be opening in the evenings on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Curbside pickup will continue for the short term, but it will likely not go on further into June, is how we are imagining this will work. We just simply don't have the staffing to do it all. We will have public service staff at the circulation desk, in the children's room, at the information desk on the first floor, and the information desk on the third floor. No staff on the second floor because there is no reference desk at the second floor. We removed that. We've ordered a new desk. We're hoping it will arrive in about a month. And when that desk arrives, we'll restaff that space. In the meanwhile, we will have security on the second floor, and there will be staff on the second floor for local history, teen, et cetera. We will be.
Question?
Yep.
Is
Yep.
it full capacity, 100% capacity?
No, it was just to get there.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
No worries. 50% capacity, which means that we will have no more than 110 patrons in the building at any one time. We can change that as we advance further in the summer and the governor's rules are less stringent. We're just going to play it by ear. We have number counts in our children's area and our meeting rooms, our theater, and our teen area and other spaces as well. All patrons will be expected to wear masks inside the building. Staff will be expected to wear masks. We will continue to socially distance. We'll urge everyone to continue to clean their hands whenever possible. We will, however, in this opening, we will at long last restore some of the seating to the library. So people will be able to come in and not just browse, but they'll be able to find tables and seats and sit. They won't be in as many, there won't be as many of them as there had been prior to the pandemic, but we will have all of that. We'll also have computers available for the public as well. There'll be some computers available in the children's area, the preschool AWE computers and the internet computers, and a parent's computer in children's. There will be the public access catalog available on the first floor, and no computers on the second floor because indeed there are no staff there to help assist patrons. We will have computers on the third floor. We'll also have a scanner on the third floor. Our fax machine will, at this point, will not be functional because of the renovation on the second floor, though we're exploring ways to try to find a place to establish it either on the first floor or the third floor. We are leaving gloves near all of the computers. It's not mandatory that people use the gloves, but if they in fact choose to do so, it's obviously a good thing. Let's see. We will also see the reopening very happily of the Friends Bookstore, and they will be opening on these hours on Tuesday, on Thursday and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon and 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And they are still restricting donations to 2 small bags or boxes as well. At this point, we will not be having programs, but we are anticipating have a robust summer programming effort, and our programs will be virtual like in the recent past, but we will be doing programs, one in the morning, one in the afternoon during the summer, both at Main Library and at the Huguenot Children's Library. At Main Library, we'll be using the Children's Alphabet Garden. We are thinking about purchasing a tent, perhaps some cafe tables as well. So we're sort of working on a plan to make that space attractive and yet also keep it socially distant. We are also requiring parents to wear masks and children from the ages of 3 and above to wear masks, even outside.
Tom, so does it sound like you're doing a bit of a hybrid? Is that what I'm hearing? Because it was so popular, really. People really got something out of the online storybook time and stuff. Are you going to try to do kind of a hybrid now?
We think I mentioned the word pivot, and I think that's appropriate, Deirdre, in terms of how we will likely go forward with programming, because you're entirely right. We discovered, like most libraries, that there was an appetite for remote programming, and it became very popular. Certain programs in particular were particularly popular. And so we're going to try to continue to do that through the rest of the spring into the summer. And at this point, barring any sort of strange unforeseen conditions, we'll continue it into the fall. And based on the input that I've seen and heard from my colleagues in other Westchester libraries, I think they're also going to go for that hybrid model.
Good.
So that's really it as far as where we stand in terms of the library reopening, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you folks have. And I can also send you a link both through email and in Onboard. Our website has all of this on a page, so you can look at it if you have any questions.
Okay. What about this free direct access plan that's in your report?
Yes, I was going to get to that.
Sorry, Tom.
No worries. I'm glad you mentioned it. We are required, the Westchester Library System, all library systems in the state of New York are required to have a free direct access plan for a 4-year period. There's a plan that has been put together starting from the year 2022 through the year 2026. And basically, It's a series of questions with responses by our library system that relate to how we as a library community serve our residents, both in the general sense and in a particular sense. And we put this together, passed unanimously through the Public Library Directors Association. And quite frankly, I've been here for almost 15 years, and I've come to you again every 4 years with this. It's a very non-controversial plan. It really just details, how we are planning to go forward in serving all the residents of Westchester County in a fair and equitable fashion.
Okay.
Could I mean, what I would like is, if not a resolution, a sense of the board that this plan is acceptable, so I can share the board's approval with Terry Kirshner at the library system.
The only thing I'm going to ask my board members, it is on board, but you haven't had a chance to read it, or maybe you guys have read it. Are you talking, Whitney? Wait.
My children, sorry, just to my children.
Oh, okay. Before we agree, is there anybody is there the feeling that we need to read this before we give that approval? It's in kind of just a sense of what people are comfortable with. The plan, he listed it, not he, our director, Tom, listed it in the agenda. So if anybody wants to give me a sense, I think Whitney, you said you're fine. Yeah, I'm fine. You guys want to look at it quickly?
I would like to look at it quickly.
Okay.
Wait, sorry, I can't find it suddenly. Where is it?
Yeah, find it.
It was an on board. I put it in there.
But
Is it on the agenda tab? Is that where it's at?
Yep.
All right,
Yeah.
Is that the analytics or downloads?
one moment, please.
Could certainly defer to next month too. There's no.
So it's under your director's report, regular business.
You see the WLS free direct
Section
access?
4, letter C, WLS free direct access plan.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
All right.
So do you guys want to look at it over the next month, and it's 6 pages, and come back next month and Tom will ask you to do a resolution on it? How's that sound? That sounds fair to me.
That works.
Sounds
Okay.
good to me too, yeah.
Okay.
When are they voting on this, or did they vote on this already, or what's
Dan, the directors group voted on it unanimously, and now the request is that each individual library board also approve it, and once it reaches a majority, then it will go into effect. And I know boards have already started to do so. There is no tremendous rush to vote it in tonight. We could certainly wait till next month. It's pretty non-controversial, but it's also worth looking at.
All right, I just want to point out again, it says here that it was the WLS Board of Trustees reviewed it on 2/23, PLDA reviewed it on 3/18, and it was last updated on April 1st, 2021. So I want to make sure that we, as an entity, I don't want us to be the last library on the list.
Yeah.
To be voting on it or approving it. So I just want to point that out as far as the timeline as I see here.
Duly noted.
Aye.
Duly noted.
Yeah, I would agree with that comment because the board did look at it and approved it. So we should not delay unnecessarily. It is not really controversial. It's quite straightforward. And
I feel comfortable with it already. I read it.
Yeah,
But
I'm
just
already
in
on the
terms
last
of-
page here. I'm comfortable with it too. Again, I would recommend and encourage my fellow trustees to take a look at it now. I would feel
I'm on
much
board
more
with it. I
voting
just
on
read it.
Yeah,
Can you help
Yeah.
me where it is? I'm not following where.
Sorry.
I got you.
Can somebody
Okay.
put it in the chat, maybe?
Beth, did you download the onboard app?
So I'm in on board.
Oh, it's there, Beth. So go
You're in
to,
on board.
go
You
to
go
the
to the
calendar.
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 You see our meeting, the meeting we're at? You see a
Mhm.
click on that.
7:30.
Okay.
Now, I'm trying to do it with you here. So scroll down to you see meeting minutes builder, agenda, call to order, pledge of allegiance, approval of minutes. Are you following me?
Mm-hmm.
Keep going. Regular WLS, president's report, under director's report, WLS free direct access plan. Do you see that?
See,
Yep.
Okay.
Oh,
click that.
Okay.
thank you.
So,
Okay.
so this is what I would ask, Tom, in the future, if there's something you want us to approve, just let us know, send us an email, a week before the meeting or something, say, there is something you need to approve at the meeting, please read.
Beth, I
Right.
just sent it
You know
to
what?
you via WhatsApp, just in case.
Put it in writing.
Okay.
Yeah, just we won't act upon it. We will totally respect it and act upon it if you just remind us, but I don't think anybody saw it.
And the basis is about the making sure we're equitable and there are no inequities. Is that right, Tom?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Able to review it, so I do feel comfortable as well, and thank you, Daniel,
That's good.
to approve. I think it's important now that I see the dates and the documents.
Exactly.
Okay. So I agree, except the dates and the docs, we still should be reading it, guys, so. Okay, so does somebody want to make a motion about that?
I can make a motion to approve the, this is called the
Are you?
WLS free direct access plan.
For
Can we
20,
do that? Wait. Beth's still reading it. Beth, are you comfortable?
I'm rocking and rolling. I'm almost done. I'm a speed reader.
Okay. Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed?
I'm getting there.
It's okay, I think we got it.
Okay. So, you should still read it, Beth, but we had.
I am.
majority.
Keep going. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Tom, you had it's passed.
okay.
Got
great.
that, Jean?
Could I just say something, Chair, that what Tom said about the access reopenings, I fully endorse what he said. From the standpoint of the WLS board, I think our library compares very well with the other libraries.
Yeah.
In fact, there was the PLDA chat meeting this morning, and on the agenda was this particular.
Okay.
Am I mute? Can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear
Now we
you.
can hear you.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, the question of reopenings was discussed, and comparing our library with the other libraries, I think we are quite more imaginative, quite progressive. Some libraries are going to be open later in the month or perhaps next month. Some of them are quite cautious and so on. But I think we are doing very well compared to others.
Yeah, I do have to say, I get a lot of compliments, Tom, on just how the library's been just
That's
such a
right.
wonderful resource during this time. So you and your staff should really feel good about what you've done. And we certainly as trustees are the fortunate ones. We get to walk around and say, we're trustees, and really you guys are doing great work. So
Yeah, and those that.
Thank you. And the staff really stepped up in a very challenging circumstance because nobody obviously had ever encountered a pandemic. So we had to scramble to think how we would function with a building that was closed, but with a community that needed services. And so, people learned how to program virtually, used all the social media, just all sorts of interesting and different ways staff stretched. And really, I have to say the board provided tremendous support. And I know there are directors in the county who have not been as lucky to have a board that's as supportive and thoughtful. So in the community too, it's just really been in a challenging circumstance, we found some really good things to do and learn how to do tasks that were always done a certain way in a new way, and quite possibly a more beneficial way. So thank you.
So,
Good.
so now that we're opening a board, we should consider, and we can talk about this through email, unless you guys say go for it, we should consider having our meetings in public. So I don't know how everybody feels, and I don't want to put people on the spot right now, and maybe we can do it in email, or maybe you guys can send me an email if you're uncomfortable with it or you're comfortable with it, but that is definitely on the table. I'd like to know how everybody, maybe if everybody could just send me an email. Just how you guys.
I'm happy to vote on that today as well.
Well, but Dan, I don't want, it's one of these things where some people might not feel comfortable, and I don't.
I know.
So I don't really want people to feel uncomfortable voicing their, so if everybody could just email me and let me know how you feel, and but we can now really, I think, once the building's open, we should feel comfortable meeting.
And just as a point of order, the governor changed the open meeting laws to allow for remote meetings at the onset of the pandemic. And what he's been doing on a month-to-month basis is to extend that order. And he did extend it, and it is extended now through, I think, May 18th. But it's quite possible that at the expiration of this order, he may not even give boards an option any longer, and I will keep you posted about that. So
Right.
That's a possibility too.
Right, and then if we do end up having a meeting, we will do all the same precautions they do when when the building's open, we'll wear masks. We'll do 6 feet apart. Isn't it 3 feet now, or is it still 6 feet? I don't know what it is.
I think it's 6. I think 6 is recommended, but 3 is acceptable.
So we'll do whatever we're supposed to do in the room, in the Ozzie Davis Theater, so. Okay, sorry, so Tom, continue
Yep.
on.
Thank you. I've been talking ad infinitum about all the grants that we have, and suffice it to say that we're working towards closing out a large number of them as we get closer to June and filing, and Jean has been on top of it, as well as myself and staff. The largest grant that's still open is, of course, the renovation of the second floor, phase 2. And when you come into the library next, all of you, you'll see that it looks great, but it's very much unfinished. And we have a new desk and furniture, et cetera, on order. So we're hoping to be able to put things into place by the end of the summer, and it looks terrific now, and I think it will even be more appealing and functional in our new version. So just to let you know that we're busy dealing with all of those grants. See what else. Deirdre already mentioned May 18th is, of course, the election for library budget, as well as the vacant position, the position that Deirdre will leave. We have 2 candidates who seem extremely well qualified with energy and ideas. And we're hoping that people will remember that there is an election. They will come out and vote. We haven't had much input from the community in terms of testifying at meetings. Glenwood Lake Association was a few weeks ago, and it was very successful, I thought. And we have a meeting on May 12th, not before the Residence Park Neighborhood Association population, but before their board. And so I will be there, and I'm hoping at least a few board members will have some time to be able to chat with them as well. And I have all the particulars about the meeting located on board, as well as in an email. So that's important. We're still in the process of planning regarding Wi-Fi hotspots and devices that we will loan to New Rochelle residents. WLS has committed to giving us 5 packets, we're waiting to hear from our foundation in regards to our grant request for the next fiscal year. And we're also working on a grant with the city of New Rochelle for CARES money. Let's see what else is going on. We just concluded a very successful community read, including our community, New Rochelle, as well as our 4 neighbors in Rye, let's see, Harrison, Mamaroneck, and Larchmont, sorry. And the book was an important book, Isabel Wilkerson's Cast, and there were 6 sessions. On April 28th, it was the keynote session with Isabel Wilkerson discussing her book. Deirdre Clark, our board president, was the moderator. And I have statistics. I don't know, Deirdre, if you've seen this yet, but
I just know there were like 600 people on the call or something like that.
there was a total of what Zoom characterized as 737 users. We then broke it up by saying that there were 637 unique viewers. And at any one moment in time, there was 608 concurrent views. So it was tremendously successful. It spanned all the county and, you know, elsewhere in the country, and I believe other nations as well. So it was really effective, very successful. So that was good. I hope we get enough
Congratulations.
continue to do this.
It was Cure really, and I guess Catherine Parker came up with the idea to do the book, and then I think the Board of Legislators provided funding. Is that right?
Yes, yeah. Catherine Parker was able to obtain $15,000 from the Board of Legislators, for this, and it was successful. And CURE was the organization that managed it and seemed to do a fine job.
They were great. So it was definitely a fun, it was nerve-wracking. I don't think I've ever moderated something with 600 people. So that was nerve-wracking, but it was good. It was good.
And I just want to thank Daniel O'Gerry, who we were the organization that was managing this Zoom event. Each public library, as part of the 5 libraries and towns, managed an event, and we had the largest one, and it really went off without a hitch. And Daniel worked very hard on it, and so I think he deserves some measure of praise. Let's see what else. Almost done. The Friends Bookstore, as I mentioned, will be reopening. We know the community will be thrilled to have access to their material. I saw Amy Teets, who has been in the library literally since our closing, even if it was just for a few hours in the day, gradually ramping up when we reopened our building. She was straightening out the bookstore, getting things ready for next week. So that's exciting. And in terms of our foundation, there is a fair amount of things to talk about, and I'm looking for my notes. Here they are. The next Cocktails and Conversation will be with a local celebrity, and her name is Sunny Huston. She is author of Summer on the Bluff, and she is also better known for being one of the Emmy Award-winning co-hosts of The View. So she is going to be talking about her book on May 27th at 8 p.m. So I encourage board members, everyone out in the audience, to sign up. It's free. If you so desire, you can also make a small donation to assist the foundation. The next thing I want to mention is our foundation board meeting is May 17th. It's an important one. We'll be talking about our grant request in more detail. I've already talked about it a bit at the March meeting, but that's an important meeting. And then the foundation will vote on our grant requests at the June meeting. We are also heavy duty into conversations with the foundation in regards to the weekend of October 2nd. And third, October 2nd will be the Scavaganza. It was postponed on two separate instances in the past because of the pandemic. It is now safely landed on Saturday, October 2nd. The foundation is waiting to release more details, but it's going to be a great fun, focus on how well do you know your city. It'll be competitive with teams scouring the city, both in person and in a remote way. And so the foundation will release more about this in the near future. But what we have decided to do is to bookend the Scavaganza on the 2nd with what we are characterizing as a family fair on Sunday, October 3rd. We are open on that day from 1 to 5 p.m. And what we're planning to do is to create a day in which there'll be an opportunity to showcase the library and all the things that we have to offer to the community. We are also hoping to do an official ribbon cutting for the second floor, in which you board members who are part of this, we're asking you to come to participate, as well as foundation members, local dignitaries like our mayor, also, and certainly not least important, are our state legislative leaders who were the engine that helped drive this renovation. Since thanks to their support, we were able to obtain, I think, over $600,000 in state grants to make the second floor a new and attractive place. So please put that on your calendar, and there'll be more to come as we go forward. But on that day, we will not only have a ribbon cutting, but we're going to have programs in the auditorium and also in the children's area. We're talking about the possibility of having a mini Comic-Con in the teen area. We'd like to do some technology training in the lab. So there will be something for everybody throughout the day, and it's going to be exciting. And that's it. I am done.
All right, thank you. Do you have, so next is Tom's personnel report.
I do.
You have some personnel matters?
I do some
Okay.
brief updates. At long last, I can happily tell you that our social media person, who also works with the videography here at the library and now graphic design, has been upgraded through civil service, and our community support specialist, who is working inside and outside the library in terms of assisting our public and partnerships, also upgraded. So at long last, we're happy to make that announcement. We are now in the process of checking references for our finalist for the communications and marketing specialist. I'm still waiting to hear from just a few more people. I'm sure it will be excellent. And then I will have something to announce at that point in time. We are also waiting on the Civil Service Commission to move forward with our new position that was approved by the board for a programming person. And that person's responsibilities will be programming throughout the library, as well as managing the Lumen Winter Gallery, as well as being the theater manager. And so we're excited about this job. We're excited about ways to try to creatively use our theater in times in which it has not traditionally been used, such as a Friday night or a Saturday night and other times. So this is a key position. We're hoping civil service will be able to move forward in terms of this new job. And that's it.
Okay, nothing for us to approve. Okay, that's great.
No.
Okay, so now we'll turn to board committees. The budget committee doesn't have anything because we had our meeting. I know buildings and grounds does, so take it away, Sarah.
So I guess it was last week or 2 weeks ago, we interviewed 2 candidates for the project manager that we have been speaking of. We decided as a committee, and the CROC committee also agreed that we would add a couple of names to that list. So I know that we're working on contacting, I think it's 4 other firms. I know Tom has been in touch with them, sort of to expand our search. And the interviews went really well. I think we learned a lot, and the role of project manager is very different from these firms. So that was not my expectation. I thought that it would be very standard. And the firms that we interviewed really offer different things, very different. So that's why we want to expand the search and just meet with a few other candidates. We also got a report from APS. The report that we had talked about, it was more of a concise report to pare down on that large building audit. So I think we should post that to onboard. I didn't see it there. So Tom, if you could have that added to onboard. It's
Yes.
so you can sort it and search for all different things. It has everything categorized as to what's critical, what's necessary. So that's very helpful. And I think that this tool is really going to be helpful when we decide on our project manager. Because it has all of the numbers there really concisely. It's not 300 pages. I don't know how many pages it is, but it's very well organized. So it'd be great for everybody, who's interested to take a look at that. And another thing, I wanted to hear from the Needs Assessment Committee, and I had reached out to Whitney just because we had spoken recently about the budget. And I know she's not the person for the needs assessment.
Yes, needs assessment, but we actually, do you remember we combined it into special projects? So it became,
right.
So that's Corey is the chair, but actually Sarah, when we give we're going to talk about the Memorial Highway project, Corey can talk about it. And then we have a proposal. So hold that thought.
Okay, great. Because we're
going to come to you.
Yes.
Okay. So I think it's great. We're going to reach out to more project managers, and there is just a really wide spectrum of what project managers can offer us. So hearing from the community, I think, is really important at this point. It's sort of like, do we want to keep with the status quo, or do we want to do like a big capital investment?
Yes, that's right. We're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Even your baby's on the same page.
The community speaks.
Okay.
I have a quick question for Sarah and the Buildings and Grounds Committee. Were the project managers, and I'm sorry if I missed this and I obviously didn't read it. Was there a RFP that they were responding to with clear scope of work?
There wasn't.
There was an RFQ. We asked them for an RFQ.
So if you wanted to get apples to apples and to be able to get specific things that we're looking for, or if we don't feel like we're skilled enough with the world of construction project management to be able to know what we want to ask for. But if we wanted to send out an RFP with specific things that we're looking for, then it's much easier to create like a matrix and compare services with pricing if we have a budget in mind, so that we can, see what the value is for each firm. It's just
I agree with Winnie on that, and I'm more than happy to if Winnie's open to collaborate on this RFP that we can probably perhaps put out, because I think it will give us some kind of a baseline, if you will.
Yes.
And as we not only read the proposals and interview the firms and whatnot, with the set budget that we have in place and so forth, just leaving it just open-ended in such a way, sometimes we may get a firm that just really just knocks us off our socks, but now we're talking about the monetary value being way over the what we can afford. So I don't want to lose that momentum and discourage us as an organization, but also have the appropriate procurement process in place.
It's also normal after you submit an RFQ and people respond to it to then narrow down 3, say, thank you for the RFQ. Please respond to these specific things with pricing. And I commend the Buildings and Grounds Committee, because I know this is hard work and we're learning as we go. And this isn't to be critical, just trying to be helpful.
Absolutely, absolutely. They've done a lot of work
Yeah,
already.
It's a lot of work. Yes, I recognize
It
that.
simplifies it for sure.
And thank you, Buildings and Grounds Committee.
So I want to add, I think that we're sort of up in the air on, are we doing a big capital investment?
Right.
You know, and to kind of narrow down the RFP.
Yeah.
Are we doing that big capital investment? I don't know that we're all in agreement, or are we just kind of chugging along and trying to fix things as they come up? I think that that's something that we need to decide on as a group before really.
I agree, Sarah. I think Winnie and I discussed this, and so we need a smaller group. I think and Daniel, I think you're right in helping on the RFP side, but I think between special projects and crops, we need to come up with, are we going to do this piecemeal, or are we going to do a bigger raise? And the thing is, a bigger investment. The thing is, we have to service the community. And so, you know, we've got to do our best as elected officials to say what's going to service the community the best, while also getting the input from the community and not just doing it in a vacuum. And so that's going to be part of the Special Projects Committee report. But we do need to make a decision on that, but we can't make a decision on it on that in the fishbowl or the vacuum. We've got to be able to do that and say, hey, we've listened to the community and we're going to move this direction, but we've got to service the community to let the library support what the community needs are. That makes sense.
Can I ask a question? I mean, this is probably going to come up in your report, but do we have some kind of timeline in our head that might help us with this decision? Like, we are going to, by the end of this year, you know, by the end of 2012, or I wish, 2021, by the end of 2021, we will make a decision, and that decision will be made from, you know, the needs assessment, or, you know, so
yes.
Can we give ourselves a ballpark or a timeline when you're going to make that decision? Because it's going to keep dragging.
I know,
it
has been dragging.
And if you're going to have a capital improvement and you're going to need to go out to a bond, you're really going to need time to kind of let the community know. So the quicker you can make that decision, the better it's going to be when you try to tell the public.
We have about 10 months, right? From right now until the time that we need to start pushing out publicly. And I think we're not on special projects, but this relates directly to, and will
Can we skip to special projects, Deirdre? Because it
yes.
Like, you know, so Whitney, go ahead on the special project side, because that update does correlate to what Sarah was saying.
Yeah, so this is, and I think we're all feeling the same thing. And so very timely, we will be having a kickoff meeting with Public Works Partners. We asked them, as you recall, to revise their proposal to not only conduct a needs assessment, but with the community, but to actually perform our whole strategic planning process and create our strategic plan. And ours expired, I think, Tom, in 2020. So it's, you know, it's great timing. And that strategic plan, they anticipate, will be a 16-week engagement process. That's 4 months. So between now, May, June, July, August, the end of the summer, we should have a really good sense of where we're going, what we want to do. This is the context in which the questions you're asking, Sarah, the questions you're asking, Deirdre, and Corey and Daniel and Beth and everybody. So we're all on the same page. This will guide us. This will give us the framework in which to have conversations. We'll get information and input from our staff, from the library staff, from the community members, from parents of young children, from seniors, we will define the parameters, and we don't have millions and millions of dollars to spend to talk to every single human being on the planet about this. But with the framework that they set out, I think we will be able to capture and gather as much information as possible, we're also including a virtual town hall. So hopefully we'll be able to really get the word out about that and get anyone we've missed. And using that information along with the other information that we have, including the building audit, including the funding, the grant opportunities, all sorts of other things, library stats and data that Tom and Jean provide. We will be able to really kind of hone in on this process and start to answer these questions. So hopefully this will be the last time we feel like we're kind of spinning our wheels.
Right, but I think the strategic, the special projects and strategic plan has to be married to the building and grounds.
Absolutely.
Committee. And so what we run into a little bit because of our bylaws, there can only be 3 people meeting at a time. So what we thought of, Whitney and myself and Tom, was if Sarah, you can join a special committee that would have yourself, Whitney, and me, and we would come up with our strategic plan as well as, work with you on the building, the building and grounds. So we need that input in order to create the right plan. And so, Deidre, I leave it to you on if that's the best way forward, or are there conflicts in there for us to do that?
I think it's at the board's discretion to create ad hoc committees as needed. And so this can be that strategic planning committee that's kind of a marriage of those. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's within
that's fine. That's fine.
parameters.
Somebody should make a motion to create it, so that we can just get it in the minutes and everything. And
sure, I can make a motion. Yeah. I make a motion to commit to create a special committee for the purpose of kind of navigating. Hopefully, Sarah, you're okay with this. We just kidnapped you into our committee. We can't hear you, but I think you're saying yes.
Yes.
Okay. So a committee consisting of Corey Galloway, Whitney Barrett, and Sarah Langlois, and this committee will kind of be the guiding force to work with Public Works partners in the strategic planning process and be able to combine the joint efforts of the Buildings and Grounds Committee and the Special Projects Committee.
what's the name of the committee, guys?
It's just the Strategic Planning Committee.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Strat Planning Committee. Okay. Strategic Planning Committee. Okay. So you made a motion.
Can I get a second? Yes.
I'll second.
Everyone in favor? Yeah.
All those opposed?
Anyone opposed? Nope. Okay, great.
So did you get that, Jean? I think you did.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Jean. And so you'll be reporting out on your progress then? Yeah?
Yes, we will every time. Yep.
Okay. So I do know there's more that y'all want to talk about. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There's
Okay.
more.
There's more.
Yes.
So keep going.
All right. So we let me just pull up my notes. Sorry. We had a meeting about the Memorial Highway presentation. Tom went back to Doug with Preservation Studios and gave him our notes, which were minimize stairways, maximize places to sit. There are a lot of notes. If you want me to read, I can read.
Can you back up a little bit and just share with the group, like the process and the review and everything?
Oh yeah. So Doug presented to us a couple of different options on what to do with the Memorial Highway, and Tom, Whitney, and myself went through those presentations. Each one has a different look and feel, and also obviously different price points. Is there something you want to add, Whitney?
Just that we had met even before that with, we had a nice discussion with APS and Doug and his colleagues, Stephen, refresh my memory. And he's from Langen, which is a really amazing firm that we use at the Lincoln Center. So I'm familiar with them. They did a lot of like geo scoping of sculpture that we had up when we had to take it down, and they do like all sorts of other really cool things. So I was really psyched to have them on board for this. They're a big deal.
Yeah. And also we, which I thought was really good in that meeting, the foundation joined us as well. So, there's some coordination that we feel we should be doing with the foundation. And you look at Sarah's report, special projects, like the Memorial Highway, we've got to make sure we're coordinating with the foundation's efforts on their fundraising. So as we go down this road of the buildings and grounds, and there's something they may want to change or adjust, but the foundation may be raising money for something that they want to put into the library, but the building grounds may say, hey, we want to change that entire area. That kind of shoots the foundation in the foot on their fundraising, because they're like, wait a minute, we just gave you guys, $25,000 to do this, and the library just went right behind us and did this. So that coordination, I think, was very important. So I think we learned a lot from their experience, as well as how we can work together and make sure that we're doing things in a unified way.
So what's it gonna look like?
I mean, I can pull it up if we want to take a minute and just
I'd
walk
love
through
to.
it. Yeah, hang on, bear with me 2 seconds. Okay, here we go. I can share my screen, I believe. So can you see this?
Yeah.
I'm gonna start from the beginning. And I will just make it big. Just ignore all my other stuff, please. That's my work stuff. So you can basically see this is the entryway. Each concept gets more and more expensive and complicated and kind of fleshed out. So this is concept 1. I'm going to kind of go through them quickly, and then we can go back again. This is concept 2. You see what they're doing, trying to kind of fill in that center circle piece. Adding, kind of minimizing some of the plantings, adding other plantings. This is the concept 2, which is really the third one. This is concept 3. You can see this is seating, and there's more seating up here. This is decking. So they went through a number of the material options. This is concept 5. As you can see, things are getting a little bit more kind of nuanced, and the ADA ramping is, pretty much the same. It's just much, it's improved. And I think this is the last of the plans. So the feedback, what that Corey just shared, is basically that we're looking to maximize the openness of it. And so, we're proposing with eventual phased, a phased possibility of actually cutting out this whole stairway. Can you see my cursor moving here? Here, I can even draw a little bit. So basically taking all this whole area and adding it into the space. We like concept. I drew on my computer. Hold on a second. Let me clear the drawings, and I'm going to go get rid of this. And I'm just going to go back down to, so you can see here, we like concept 4's kind of openness. And we want there to be access to, yeah, I mean, with this one, we really like these. We want there to be access to, for ADA access to be able to come this way. Then this whole area would be open. We want ADA access even through here. So this would be like a little garden with seating. We want there to be maybe a little pathway that enables, and then look, there's only these stairs here, and we really want only these stairs here, and that enables this whole space to be part of something that can be used for just kind of seating. And we're even asking them to reconsider this area and minimize the planting. So that, again, all this is money, right? It's anything is possible here. It's just money. And I think what Corey and I are kind of reckoning with is, this is such an incredible space. We just had a really great brainstorming opportunity. Again, this is something we want everybody to have a chance to participate in as part of our strategic planning process, because these beg different questions. So what are we planning for? What is the programming? And we really need to identify the programming we want to see here, and the design should follow that, because the design needs to meet the needs of the services and programming and events and activities we want to provide. And without that sensibility, we could create something that's like, like, why didn't we had the chance, right? So we really don't want to rush this. We want to do it right. And let me just clear this. And so I can go very quickly with you through just some of their inspirations.
If you want to go back really quick, Whitney, so the other thing too, just to add to everything Whitney said, was we're trying to get outside seating, because what we've identified is that people will come to the library to use the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But there's no outside seating, for them to have a communal type of relationship to the library. And so what you see on concept 4 are a few places for outside seating. So, I may just want to be a part of the library and use the Wi-Fi, and we want to offer that to the community.
Yeah, and so what you don't know here is you see these triangular kind of swoop things. These are like these tents that provide shade, that they're retractable and removable, and make it so that you can use it seasonally. There's a whole bunch of ideas. So I can quickly go through this. I don't want to take up so much time. And we can post this on board for you to look through at your leisure, and you should. So these are just inspirations. They're talking about making the space more whimsical, more lively, adding colors, adding materiality, making it more welcoming, drawing your eye in, making it flexible with movable seating, making it durable, because we don't want it to be an operational nightmare, adding things in that are, and we also want it to be secure and safe. So we want to make sure we have the right railings. Those are expensive. That's like half the budget is railings. The lighting is something that's essential and critical for safety, for atmosphere, for feeling secure while you're in a space. And it will really enable the versatility of the space as far as event planning go. We could have a evening jazz, we could have a outdoor reading, open mic nights. They were playing with and discussing all of the different paver options that really add, just kind of texture and the lovely aesthetic, and a lot of different patternings, etc. And then signage. So in the layouts you saw at the kind of, I'll just go through these quickly. These are some of the decking that they were talking about, but I want to go back to the signage after. These are those curved seatings that you could see in the layouts. Really lovely. And the bike racks. And then these are these kind of green walls. We talked about having a separation of some kind between the service driveway into the garage and where the plaza, starts. And these are these kind of swoopy. These are great. I've sat under them. They do provide shade and just kind of create a sense of place. Some of the planting ideas they had.
Nihana is asking, and I'm sure they can, and he answered, can pavers be a fundraising opportunity? And of course they can.
Absolutely. This whole thing, right? So this is really sparking a lot of questions, a lot of interest. I'm just going to go back and show you where some of these things are included in the plans, and in particular in the ones we like, which are 4 and 5 for the most part. You see those wooden seats here. We could add more. This is that wooden decking. These would be some of the paver ideas. And it's up here where the signage should happen. So you're really drawing the eye. And on this wall too, you see this wall is where people are coming. This is a one-way street. Everyone's coming in that direction. And this is a really great opportunity to capture people's, eyes, maybe with artwork, maybe with, some kind of communication. So it's all very exciting. And, it's obviously a gift that we get to think about this. But we do need to think about it holistically and not as a one-off.
I personally, back in the day, in my elementary and middle school days, I remember the library having a fantastic cafe where I remember it was right there where the bookstore is now. And it used to be a very dope cafe. I mean, it's just we should
have Tom and I talk about this all the time, like having a concession think about like having little food trucks come out here, going across the street to, you know,
Yeah.
Alvin and Friends and grabbing a coffee and coming back, and, you know, just all the collaborations we could do. I think that this alone is just triggering such potential. And again, we want to make sure that this isn't done in a bubble, and that it's not done thinking about the big picture. So
Yeah,
that's
even that, I think
relevant-
it gives us the opportunity to rent out space, if you will, for a
That's right.
provider, provide some kind of, coffee and some light snacks and whatever.
Yeah.
I like what Hannah was saying, you know, and part of my community relations report too, I was going to say, I've been approached to about, if the library has space of any kind of gardening, planting, seeding to feeding program. I know we had a little space in the back or to the side of the children's library, but there's a really big push in regards to the environmental aspect and how to provide some kind of sustainability and incorporating that. So this is a great opportunity to think green, to think sustainability, and even further, how can we involve, and I'm always advocating for young adults, how can we involve young adults into this project, not only in getting their opinion on it and community, but how can they be involved into the point, and I speak on a vocational and hands-on aspect, where can they construct something? And again, I speak on my agency side and partners that were happening, where we're pretty much converting pallets, donated pallets of wood into sustainable furniture and sustainable garden beds and sustainable. So how can we incorporate these pieces and really merge not only an aesthetic and beautiful aspect, but really make it a community engaged project?
I think that the opportunity for that will really be during the strategic planning process, and getting the feedback there, and then the actual building of it is a whole other issue, because that's
Right.
a whole other thing. But I mean, anyway, so I don't need to keep
Yeah,
talking about it, but
I think just one thing relative to the last strategic plan we of course solicited input from the community. And what's interesting is one of the things people wanted the most in our library is some sort of restoration of a cafe or food. It's just a matter of, locating it and what would be offered. Oftentimes those sorts of places truly don't make a lot of money. In terms of libraries, they traditionally don't. They oftentimes end up being like a value-added service, but it's something that people would like, if we could pull it off in a, an appropriate way.
So go ahead, Whitney.
oh yes, well, you know what I was going to say, which is that
Yeah, go.
yes, okay, so we know in order to move forward with the strategic plan, we need to ask for a resolution to fund the services of Public Works partners as they guide us through this process. The total amount that Tom and Corey and I kind of reviewed for the strategic planning process, which includes, a whole bunch of meetings and outreach, surveying, the town hall, is $47,000. And Tom has let us know that that amount of money is accessible to us. So Tom, can you just say a little bit more about that for everybody else?
Before you do, let me back up before you
Yeah.
do. So these are two different things, everybody. The Memorial Highway
Correct.
project is separate. We just got into the Memorial, that's separate.
Yes.
And the funding from that will actually, part of it will come from the foundation. Am I correct on that? So that looks expensive but a lot of that will come from the foundation. So now we're moving back to the strat plan.
Yes,
the committee
and sorry,
no problem. And the committee we just we just talked about. And so I want to bring your minds back to the fact that we do have kind of what Sarah's talking about, what we're all talking, we got to look at this building. And so part of what we're talking about is the committee and also the organization that's going to help us with the needs assessment.
yes, and also just to be clear, the part of the Memorial Highway project that we are proceeding with only at present is the exploration to understand pricing for the big picture. So this is $8,500. We approved it previously. This is Architectural Preservation Services coming up with their plan, as this is part of their project that we already embarked upon. We're not moving forward with this any further until after the strategic plan is complete. So the next step is to do the strategic plan so we can be holistic about what it is we want to do, to Sarah's point, to Corey's point, and to do this, not in a vacuum and not siloed. So then the next step is to ask for a resolution, if I may.
I have a question.
Yes. Any questions?
So we had originally for Public Works, we had originally said, I think 15,000, is that right?
It was, because it was just a needs assessment.
Just a needs assessment. So this is 47,000. Is that inclusive of the 15,000 or is that on top of the 15,000?
It is inclusive of,
Yeah.
so it's, yes. And what I can do actually is kind of share, and I should have done this before and I apologize. This is their proposal, and I can just run through it quickly if people feel uncomfortable.
We've already seen the proposal.
We're
Right,
just
okay.
expanding, we're expanding the
Right.
services.
So here's very quickly, here's what they're offering. They're holding kickoff meeting, biweekly check-ins, reviewing existing materials, doing a comparative research on service offerings of similar sized libraries. We have so much of this information already. It's going to be very, very smooth sailing for them in that regard. We will have a working session with the board. We will have a working session with the staff. This is the next one, focus group with the staff. And then they're going to create a survey and the process for dissemination for the whole New Rochelle community library users and non-users. This is more information on the survey, how they're disseminating it, our obligation to provide Public Works partners with information, and then how they're going to aggregate and analyze the data, and work with the strategic planning committee. So they even cited us by name before we were formed, and then they're going to present to us. And then this is this kind of add-on virtual town hall, but we really want to make sure that we're getting everybody. And so this was an optional task, but Tom and Corey and I agreed that we should just lump it in with a base scope. So that's what we're going to do. This is the description of the types of outreach that they will do. So let me know. I will post this to Onboard, as well as the Memorial Highway and the Courtyard project layouts and the budget for that, because you'll see that each successive layout is more and more expensive and getting up into the millions of dollars. So yes, any other questions?
Yeah, do you guys have questions about that? We would pull it from the fund balance. I asked Tom this week. We haven't pulled a lot from the fund balance at all this year. We try not to. So Tom, if you could talk about that a little, but it would come from the fund balance.
Yes, as Deirdre mentioned, this would come from our fund balance. As you folks know, it's in a very healthy condition. We have not used as much of the fund balance as we initially thought. We were able, thanks to Jean's work, to fund the new library van without having to tap the fund balance monies. So we certainly have more than enough money to afford this $47,000 expenditure, which will provide us with the ability to create a blueprint for the future. So it's not going to stress our finances in any way, shape, or form.
Does anybody have any questions?
Oh, Corey, are you talking to us?
Sorry.
It's okay.
I just wanted to add that this obviously takes a lot of coordination with all vested parties, because the Memorial Highway project is important, but we got to make sure that we do it in a strategic way, and also have the foundation engaged, because they're putting a lot of their equity into the Memorial Highway project, and we want to make sure that they don't burn that equity without us coordinating on what's happening to the entire building.
That's right. Yeah. So we've been partnering with them and talking with them as we've been giving our feedback to Doug, et cetera. And I think, we'll continue that partnership. It's been working great.
I just want to thank Corey and Whitney and Sarah for really doing so much work on our building and really trying to get us to a place where we can be that beacon that we always talk about, not only just inside, but even how we look. And so thank you three, particularly for kind of doing the heavy lifting around these issues. I think, you know, in 5 years, we're going to look back and we're going to see some of the sweat equity that you put into this realized. So thank you. And does somebody want to make a motion to pull the 47,000 from the fund balance to pay for this?
Yeah.
I will make a motion to pull the 47,000 from the fund balance to pay for this project.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? There you go. You're good.
Okay.
Do you guys have anything else? No?
No, I just have something on the finance committee, but we're not up yet. That's fine.
So, well, yeah, you are, because no, community relations.
Community
Dan?
relations.
No, I don't have any update. Just aside that, you know, a big push on the vaccination side, libraries across non-for-profits, government entities, school districts, whomever and whatever is involved to really push vaccinations in whatever way, shape, or form, and people feel comfortable. I'm excited to know that the library was involved in that capacity and partnering with the city of New Rochelle. That was pretty awesome. It was a great turnout about a month or two ago. But one of the most important things too is on a community relations side is that as all these things are coming together, not only engaging community members, but organizations that reside and do business in New Rochelle that use the service of the New Rochelle Public Library, from the Workforce Development Board to SCORE, to all those organizations, ARP and all the stuff, to really also include them into this type of project. So I'm excited to see all these pieces come together, to see all these committees kind of have that connected web for us to see this library excel and grow. So I'm excited about that. That's it.
Just one additional thing, Dan, and board. Elena Falcone, who is the Westchester Library System Outreach Coordinator, put out a library-wide request for libraries to continue to participate in pop-ups. And I did respond and said, we had a very successful effort and we'd be more than willing to do it again as long as we could schedule it. And I haven't heard from her, which is disappointing, but you know, the offer was put out there and, you know, we've accepted it. If we could do it, I think it would be truly important. So just that, and I'll keep you posted if it happens.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're at finance.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dan, were you done?
Yeah, I'm done with it.
Sorry.
All right.
Finance.
I'll try to be quick. Tom, Jean, and myself had a meeting with M&T Bank. Was that last week? Yes, last week, and looked at them as a new banking relationship. I also reached out to Westchester Bank, and I reached out to Chase and TD. TD Bank has not gotten back, and neither has Chase, but we did have a meeting with Michael Padilla, who's the vice president at M&T Bank, and he's in charge of treasury. He's a treasury management consultant. Jean, obviously, expressed her grievances of what she would like to see change and how to make the library better and more efficient, given our challenges with our current banking partner. And so we received the proposal from them yesterday. And so I read through it. I have not touched base with Jean or Tom. We all received the proposal at the same time. They did capture a lot of things we were looking for, specifically a business credit card, making sure we're receiving interest on the dollars sitting in the account, and also waiving a lot of fees that our current banking partner has been pretty excessive on charging us. So I do like where they're going on their proposal. I'll post this proposal on board so everyone can take a look at it. And I plan on doing a follow-on with them tomorrow on an email, which Tom and Jean will be on as well. And, I assume Jean wants to move ahead as soon as possible. I think we're 2 months behind. And so, that is our latest update. I think they can turn this around in 2 weeks. We would have to do some coordination with the library, with the school board, because we have to change a couple of the bylaws, because we would like to have a library representative as a signatory on the bank account. My suggestion is going to be dual signatories, which is one person from the school board, one person from the library, but it doesn't halt the library from handling their transactional day-to-day business affairs. The reason that is because as a client, it is hard, whether it's M&T, Chase, HSBC, it is hard to get a banker to really pay attention to your needs if you're not a signatory on the bank. And so the signatory aspect of it for the library is very important for us to be able to make executive decisions as needed, but not completely taking the school board out because we're under their jurisdiction, but having a joint, a dual signature that allows us to function a little more independently, as well as allowing the banks to respond to our needs in real time. And that is my report.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Finally, policy. Do we have any policy? No?
We have no new policies to review. Nope.
Okay.
Thanks.
So then at this time, we are going to open it up to public discussion. And we have three people. Marjorie would like, if you'd like to speak, you can raise your hand. I see Marjorie would like to speak. And I think somebody just turned her on.
Yes.
I did. I put her in our Zoom meeting.
Okay.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So just, first of all, I wanted to say that the 5 library, the cast thing was fabulous. Deirdre, I thought you did a wonderful job. And yeah, it was great. So thank you, Tom, and everybody for that. A lot of exciting things, it sounds like. I'm a little confused about the strategic plan and the needs assessment. So the strategic plan is going to come first and then the needs assessment after that? No.
They're together. They're together.
The needs assessment is part of the strategic plan. So the strategic plan is the big picture, and the needs assessment was really community outreach and making sure we were hearing from the community. That was the needs assessment portion. That will now be subsumed as part of the entire big picture strategic planning process.
Okay, and that's going to take about 16 weeks, you said?
The engagement with the consultant is about 16 weeks, yes.
Okay, I guess just in terms of community outreach, which is always a challenge, especially in New Rochelle, to really get a lot of community and an equitable population. And I'm just wondering, especially with COVID, if it's going to be even more challenging. People are going to be more hesitant to come to the library. That's going to be less occupied.
We're doing virtual outreach, Marjorie.
Yeah,
we're doing a virtual town hall. We will be doing digital dissemination of surveying. I'm sure they'll come up with other things. We're just getting started. It's not time for concern yet. We're just getting started. So I think given the parameters of how things are, this is part of the planning process, is they absolutely are taking all of these things into consideration.
Okay, I think that, there's a digital divide in this city, and you're going to miss if you're just doing things digitally and virtually.
Just do it. No, not just virtual and not just in person. We'll do it all.
Okay, I'm just going to suggest that maybe that part of it be that you go to places, you go to churches, you go to, public housing, you go to senior centers, that you really do have to go to people to get a real understanding of the broad community. So that's it for me.
Is that it? Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
you got her, Tom? Thanks, Marjorie. Hannah and actually LaRuth Gray are in the, I don't know if either of them want to say anything. One thing I wanted to mention to you guys, if Hannah or LaRuth want to say something, you can raise your hand. I don't even think LaRuth knows how to raise her hand, but one thing I was
Deirdre,
gonna,
we could put LaRuth in the meeting. and-
no, I don't know if she she'll.
Hannah just raised her
Hannah
hand.
just, so 1 second, Hannah, let me say one thing about the, so in terms of community outreach and the school district this year, when they did the super search, they really, really did a much better job of figuring out how to access stakeholders and how to kind of gauge, bring community into the process. So you might actually, Corey or Whitney, one of you might have the organization work, what are they called? Work.
Say PWP, Public Works.
PW, you might have public works projects. I think you might have
Partners.
Yep, you might have them talk to one of the board members in terms of how they did, like what was successful, what they sent out a survey, because they really had to do the same process where they were trying to get feedback, and they did they did a much better job than they've done in the past.
I can talk to Adina on the BOE and see if
I think that we can definitely do better.
Yeah, they did a much better job and we can do better.
No, yeah, I think we can do better.
Agreed. Agreed. Look, we're all learning, right? So we can learn from what they did and just try to expand and improve upon that.
And not to throw
Hannah.
Daniel out there, but Daniel definitely is engaged with the community, on the ground.
Yeah, we've got a lot of really great resources, even right here in this group.
Yeah,
He's a
we're gonna
great
take this.
resource.
We're gonna take this into places that we've never even gone before. So believe me when I tell you
New
that I know
frontier.
people that have used
frontier.
the library, but have never ever in their lives have had a voice or even been taken
Yeah.
into consideration as to what they feel the library can do better. And so forth and whatever. So I'm excited about this because I think that if we do the best that we can and we do this right, I'm hoping that we can be a model across the city. So
Yeah, we can use that network again in the future. So we'll build
absolutely,
it. Yeah.
absolutely.
Hannah.
Actually, all of you just mentioned what I was going to say about the strategic plan and reaching out to others who've done it. And we've done it before, the library. And of course, it was in Spanish and English. And of course, we went out to all of the different areas of town. And of course, we got help from Westchester County. And of course, we made sure that, it was a constant push for signing up. But I just wanted to say this was an exciting meeting. Everybody brought so much excitement and intuitiveness to this. It makes me so excited to see what's going to happen next.
Hi, Hannah.
And thank you, Deirdre, for everything you've done. I'm sorry to see you go, but I understand.
You went too. Thanks, Hannah. Thanks.
I love the library.
Okay, I think LaRuth wants to talk. So I just let her in, but she just went out again. Okay, so you have to unmute yourself, Mom. There she goes. Okay.
Good evening. It's nice to see all of you. And thank you I really want to say thank you to the library again. I see, hello, Tom. I see Deirdre has been participating and this is her last board meeting as president. So I thought I would just say hello and check in.
No, they've told me I'll be here in June. So there you go.
Oh, okay. At any rate, listen, the strategic, that was a beautiful presentation, Whitney. Now I'm sad that, I hope I'm around to see it finished.
You will be. Come on.
My goodness.
Come on.
I'm getting old, dear.
Approved.
I'm getting old.
No, you're not there yet, though.
No, this is a 4-month process. So come on.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
you'll be fine. You're gonna see it and then you'll see the fruits of it too.
Okay, let me just suggest one other set of places that people don't usually think about in terms of outreach: barbershops, beauty shops,
Mm,
spas, nail places.
The nail places. are-
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
good ideas. Thank you.
Yeah,
nail-
most people, and I only know that from my work as a search person, but
Yeah.
shops, beauty shops, particularly nail places. They're
Keep
just,
going, because you're hitting them all nail on the head.
yeah. Well, you know what and of course the coffee shops that are used all the time, like the diners.
Yep.
And even though the people come from away, I mean, if you look at the one down in the south end, that's used a lot by neighbors, a lot. Okay, so
Like any bodegas we have here,
yeah, just
yep.
those places get forgotten, and
Yeah.
you can leave, you can leave surveys with them. They may and say, "I'll come back and pick them up."
Yeah.
You can ask
Taco
the person,
shop.
yeah. You can ask the person who owns the beauty shop if they'll just have people fill them out and you'll pick them up. There are all these places that get lost. Okay, thanks.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, LaRuth.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, I think we have had participation, and I think we can actually adjourn. Is there
So,
anything else?
so to be clear, Deidre, this is not your last meeting.
Yes,
correct?
yes, I'll be here in June.
Okay, so I can put my speech away that I was going to say. And, okay, all right, so I'll leave that for next month. Okay, cool.
I will be here in June. So my colleagues have a wonderful month. Would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
See you guys next month. Thank you all, every one of you, for everything you do.
Thank you, Deirdre.